Welcome to American TESOL Presents Free Friday Webinars. I'm your hostess, Shelly Sanchez-Terrell with Roscoe the Pug. He joins us every now and then, and we do teach you a lot of great things. I'm a teacher trainer. I was actually recently named Woman of the Year by the National Professional Business Women, ran by Star Jones, so that was quite an honor. And I recently came out with 2 books, so that's pretty good. We have a lot of fun because it's your summer. You should be having fun, and you can learn and have fun. So today we're going to talk about how you can get tech on board. Oh, plus this is all free. We'll give you the bookmarks, everything. There's free recordings, and you also get a certificate for attending. And next week you get a badge, so if you come, you'll get a digital badge as well. All of this free cool stuff for teachers. You can come every Friday. We've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, and we'll continue to do it. I think I just signed a contract for 2015, so you should see me here. Sorry, there's Roscoe stuff in the background. I'm getting too tiny, all my clothes are falling off. Okay, so we're going to talk about tech in the classroom, and I just put, I know, it's always great to have you here too, Peggy. Peggy is really great about sharing all the links, so if you follow the links, then you can collect them if you don't use Pearltrees, but if not, Pearltrees is public. You can always have it. You can just bookmark my Pearltree, and there's ones for pretty much all of them. You just go to pearltrees.com, Shelly Terrell, you'll find it. The reason why I want to talk about this particular subject is because I've been, was telling the audience earlier, if you didn't walk in, I've been to over 20 countries and helped teachers worldwide. Some of them here, Marcia Lima in Brazil. I've actually been to France as well. I've been to Bangkok. I've been to Croatia, Slovenia, lots of places all over the world. And I've worked with refugees. Personally, I've taught classes. I taught in Athens, Greece, refugees who didn't have, wore the same clothes every day. The English lessons were free. And then I taught in Germany for a while too. And I also ran a homeless program for children for months. It was a music and it was a food one. I do need to go back to Croatia. Mariana is here. Woo. And so, and recently I worked with Mariana's students also in Aguilin, which is a little town in Croatia. So I've worked with different types of students. And the thing that amazes me is they always teach me about technology, and they're so great. Especially I was talking about the ones in Croatia that I worked with were so good about getting their students technology. And it was when I was in Croatia for a couple of months, the teachers would say, hey, I would write buses and trains to these villages, and they'd say, the children are going to come up to you. We hope you don't mind, and they might smell because they're not given baths. And also, they'll give you hugs because they're not really given hugs. Our government kind of has these villages that they give lots of money to, and to be a mom and have lots of babies in those villages pays you more than a teacher. And I was really surprised to hear this, but these are the situations that I would come across. And these teachers would stay, and they'll stay until 9 p.m. to have training with me. And their government, they found ways to pay for that. So I was really honored to be able to work with those teachers and really help them get technology, but also help them use that technology in quality ways. And that's the most important. It's not just important that you get technology to the hands of your students. What's important is the way you use that technology. And if you use it in a certain way, if you get this access, and why is it so important? Why is this so important? When you give it to your students, all of a sudden, you can make them have access to talents they never knew they possessed. And all of a sudden, their dreams become bigger, and they can see themselves as doctors, as movie producers, as artists, as making an impact in the world, as a teacher. And that's why I love this quote from Nelson Mandela, because that's what he says. He says that a peasant can become a doctor, a son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, the child of farm workers can become the president of a great nation. We've heard Obama's story. And something even as Justin Bieber, and that's a hero to many of our children today. But the reason why he's a hero is because he didn't have a dad. He lived in a small, really poor urban area, I think maybe even like a trailer area. And then he was discovered on YouTube, and he became rich. He's like a hero. So these are the possibilities if you just get technology into the hands of your learners. Now, I love this picture. This is actually by one of the places that I've bookmarked, and I'll put that here. It's called One Laptop Per Child. And if you happen to live in a place or know a place like Africa, or there's places in Nicaragua and all these other places that are really poor, then one laptop per child will go there. And this is a picture, and they have a lot of these pictures on their Flickr, and they let you use them for commercial reasons. But these children have never had a computer. They've never seen a computer. And they have lots of pictures all over the world of this, where children they're giving them computers. It's called a certain XO computer, so they make it very affordable, and they give them internet access, and they show them how to use it. So it's one of those, if you're in a really poor area, you can get XO to give you these. They give you the pamphlets, and it's really cool. If you go to their Flickr site, and I'll get that for you as well. I don't know if I even bookmarked that, but their Flickr site just shows, and you can use all those pictures and presentations, by the way. They give you access even for commercial reasons. But one of the reasons I love it is because it shows you, even in villages, like you'll see them in the farm area, and they'll have their XO, and you should just see their faces. The kids are just like amazed. They're so really happy about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get you that, so you'll see all the places they've been to as well. So you can get really cheap computers like the XO there. And these are the places I've been. Those are my refugees. We had them learn with cell phones, because cell phones were a staple to them. This is me in Slovenia. This is me speaking with kids. They did Skype, and they brought me into their classroom. And this is by a young learners teacher named Cyrilino. And Cyrilia is now she used to be in Hungary, I believe, or Romania. She used to be in Romania and have students there. And she got them connected to over 80 experts around the world, people like me, to read them stories. So I read them a pug story. But that is sad. I know, and that's I'll show you things on how to use the computers. That's me in Turkey. That was the first class I ever had, 100 inner city kids. They had nothing either. They were really poor in San Antonio as far as, San Antonio concerned. This is my students in Germany. I was a teacher there for 4 years. Students in Slovenia, and then teachers I'm trained in Germany. But the reason I want to show you this is because oftentimes this is me. I have my laptop, I have my phone, or sometimes I just have and that's all we use as the tech. It's not like I get to, just because I'm a tech trainer, doesn't mean that I get rooms full of tech. So it is possible to teach with one device and have quality learning. So what are these 10 plus ways to get tech? Well, one of the first ideas I'm going to talk to you about is crowdfunding. I'm going to tell you what that is and how you can do that, and how you can get a free booklet that'll give you a lot more information than I can give you in this presentation. Pilot programs, that's really important. And if you're in an area like Croatia, one of my really good friends, who's also awesome teacher in Croatia, Ariana Krosa, is brilliant at these. Ariana Blasic, she is amazing at this. She just got Microsoft to, I'm going to put her Twitter handle, but she just got Microsoft to put a future classroom in her school. And it's not the richest school in the world either. So you can get places like Verizon, you can get places like Sprint, you can get places like AT&T, like Microsoft, like Virgin Airlines. All of these big companies want to run pilot programs in schools worldwide. And if they can put it in a school that's not well known, in a different country than the U.S., a lot of times they'll jump on that, because they really, you've got to go through all these interviews, you've got to give interviews, you've got to give them press access, all of this stuff, but it's worth it if you can get all that technology in there too. The other thing is creating an ebook as well. You can have your students create. You can do some creative stuff, and I'll show you what some kids have done to raise money for tech. And some, of course, creative fundraising ideas that I was actually going to work on a book about that. But my partner in crime dropped out. Well, he didn't drop out. He just doesn't think he's a good writer, which is Jake Duncan. We were going to write one on how to teach like a cowboy, because they have the funniest fundraisers ever. So it looks like Roscoe wants to go out there, so you have to help. I'm going to pause for just a sec. Well, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at these right now. Let's see. So the first one I'm going to talk about is fundraising, but, well, I'll get into that in just a sec. First one is make a wish list. So go ahead, and the first thing you need to do as a teacher, yeah, no, nothing at all. Make a wish list. Put what kind of technology you want in your classroom, how you want to use it. So one of the things that we did, and Mariana actually made a video about that. Mariana, you can share the link to the YouTube video of how we worked with your classroom. And I think there was over 50 students that day. Yeah, we didn't get Cowboy Teacher. We never made it, Cecile, sorry. But the thing about it is when we did work with the students in Croatia and Slovenia, we had them, that was the first time they got to use their tools, their cell phones, to make things. And we had them make a commercial. So they did something creative, but they also got to practice their language. So they also, when they did this, think of things you want to do. And one of the things that I think all teachers should try is make a video. With my young learners that I've taught from 2 years old to over 80, when I worked with my 4 to 6 year olds in Germany, the parents didn't want their faces on there. So we did digital stories with their colorings and drawings. So you can always make a movie of something. So that's one of the things I always recommend. So do something that's related to your class. Comics. I recommend comics all the time. You can make some of the most, you have to remember when we study superheroes, if you read the comics, a lot of them take place in science labs. They have very high language. Their language is definitely not, and their concepts are not difficult. So that's what I want. I mean, their concepts are difficult. They teach you about science theory, some of them. So it's, when we think about these kind of activities, they're creative, they get the mind thinking, they're extremely great for cognitive development and the brain. So think of things like that. Don't think of things like, I want to be able to access the internet so that way we can take a quiz online. No, don't do that. Try to make at least one project where your kids get to do something really wow, because that's when it's going to really make a difference and get them. Skype. You can do something as easy as Skype. I used to have my 46-year-old Skype all the time. We'd Skype doctors in other countries. We'd Skype sixth graders in other countries. We'd Skype adults in other countries. We Skyped once a 6-year-old in the UK, and he taught us how to make origami boxes. So the reason why I say that is Skype is really easy to do, or a hangout, or a mystery hangout. You can do mystery hangouts. It's because then when they're see people in the world and they meet with them and they have projects with them, then their thinking is beyond just them in their classes. A lot of times our students tend to think about just themselves. So make that wish list, and there's a good reason you're making this, because then you can send that wish list to local universities. And this is one thing I found out with the local universities here. When I used to work in a science museum, I used to run a hands-on science program, and we always made things with science and experiments. But we would write to them, and I would send them this list. I'm very good about this kind of stuff, and I always get lots of stuff in my class, because what I do is I send this list, and I would send it to universities, and I'd say, I need mentors. I need labs. When can we use your lab? Can we take a field trip over there? Can you teach us something? Whenever you're updating your computers, can we have your old computers? We'll gladly take them. And you can do all that. Just send them a letter to the president, to the department heads, I try to find, the department head and give them a phone call with it. Say, look, this is what I am. We have this recycled. Every Tuesday we had this recycle, like a makerspace. Of course, we were having these maker spaces in 1998. And then what we would do is we would write all of them, and we'd say, come in and have your, I'm not sure how to appeal to people to donate. Oh, for a private language company, not a school. No, that's okay, Ulrich. If you just let them know and send them a very cute picture of your kids, if you have kids, or of your students, it always works. Just send them pictures of your students, and especially if they're international and they're kids, they'll love it. It works all the time. I worked for a hands-on science museum, so it's not like we were a poor school either. But you know what? They would send people over. We had the local meteorologist that was really famous. Come. You know, it's the personal thing, and they get a write-off on this anyway. And when they get a write-off, a tax write-off, it doesn't matter if they're adults that you teach. It doesn't matter. They still get the tax write-off. So for them, it's good, especially if you can give them like a donation. We used to have a 501c status for them. So I write the universities and I talk to them. Anything that I need, I put it on there. I tell them. Businesses, local businesses, every time they update their software, guess what? They have to get rid of, and you know what? They have to pay a fee to get rid of those computers. They have to pay a fee to put them in storage. So they have to, actually, if they keep them in their building, sometimes they also have to pay taxes on it. So when you appeal to them and you tell them, hey, I'll go, I have a van, I have a bus, whatever, I'll pick up all of that from you. For them, it's a relief. So these are things that you may not know, but if you have that wish list, you can send it to the businesses, and you can even send it to the universities to get all that. And then ask parents, because a lot of parents are also, and this is a great way to get guest speakers. It's a great way to get free field trips booked as well with labs, and it's a free way to get people to Skype as well, because you can put all of that in the letter. This is the way we need you to help, and if you can't do this, maybe you can Skype with our classes. Maybe you can come down for a day and be a guest mentor. Anything, you know, and what they do is they look at a letter like that and they say, okay, we'll pick this one because we can't do this one. See? So you should ask parents. There's a lot of times parents are needing to get rid of stuff, or like me, I have like 3 digital cameras I never use. I have old cell phones that still can be used and charged, and I never use them. And, you know, I've been trying to give away one of the laptops I try to give to Nepal for the longest time. I mean, so there's always computers that a lot of parents don't ever use again. And they can give you stuff, not even, but there's also a lot of things like, yeah, exactly, software, old software that they have, all of this. And, you know, it takes time to get rid of it. So if someone says, hey, I'll take that from you, I'm glad to give my stuff for free. So ask the parents. A lot of times if you do learning stations, that's how I get the learning stations developed. I ask the parents to come with the children. I say, hey, if you have books to donate, we'd love to have them in our learning station. If you can make our Imaginarium learning station look good, take it. And they do it. So you can do that. So let's talk about crowdfunding, because crowdfunding is now one of those ways that makes it really easy for teachers to get technology in their classroom or to get money for the technology. So let's say, Shelly, I don't want to go through any of this. I just want money, and I want to be able to just buy the technology. Okay, well, you can do that. It's called crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is like this. Okay, let's pretend this is you as a teacher, and you need technology in your classroom. You just want the dough. You want the money. So you talk to the crowd. You tell all the millions. And all the millions could be parents, could be friends, could be anybody in the world that you don't know. And they help you. They say, okay, we're going to support you, and we're going to carry you through the crowd. We're going to make sure this happens. They actually have websites built for this. Okay, one of them is called IndieGoGo. And I've seen a lot of teachers get technology in whole schools and projects actually produced because what the support they get in these crowdfunding sources. So crowdfunding is a term that we learn. It's part of the online world now. And so the learninggenomeproject.com, this is my really good friend Kelly Tinkley, used to help me organize. She's one of the founders of our free online Reform Symposium Conference for Teachers. And she's amazing. She's just awesome. And so IndieGoGo is, she had the Learning Genome Project, and then she put it on here, and she put it in another one called Kickstarter. So when you do it, you know, and that's how she was a teacher, and she said, I have this idea, I want to build my own school, I need money to do this, and she put it on there, and she didn't get it all funded, but she got some of it funded, and that's great, you know, having one idea, or having, you know, you want to put laptops, or let's say you want to put Chromebooks, or you want to put these Exos, or whatever it is, they start something, you know, like digital cameras. If you get a whole bunch of digital cameras in your classroom, and flash drives, that will make such a difference this year. You'll be able to do so many projects and do so many amazing things with technology, and that's a start. That you can do that relatively cheap these days. So getting something and getting it partly funded is actually pretty good. You should really congratulate yourself when you do something like that. So Edutopia actually has a whole entire, you'll find it in those bookmarks, but Edutopia actually has a bunch of, a whole entire book that is free to download. It's free to download, so you have nothing to lose. Just go and you can use this free to download thing. Let me see if I can find it. This book, and it's available in Spanish. So if you happen to be a Spanish-speaking country, or you can read it in Spanish. Isn't that great? Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and put that for you. Yeah, then you should take the high-tech bus course. And this is what it talks about. It talks about what is crowdfunding. It gives you advice from experienced crowdfunders. So it even tells you people who have teachers who have actually gotten their projects crowdfunded, and what they do, how they write it, because you go on a website, it's free to register, free to sign up, you have to put in pictures, and usually you have to write like a campaign. You have to say what it is you're wanting money for, and then they give you a limit. They give you like a time. You have to set up a time, and it gives you the hints on how to do a really good one. How to assemble your team, identify school needs, determine the funding timeline, identify your network, meaning it just gives you everything. Craft a video or a slideshow. One of the best ways, there's some specifically, so IndieGoGo, and also if you go to Kickstarter, and I'll give you the ones for both of them, these are not just for education. Here you're going to find artists, you're going to find people who develop apps, you find a lot of app developers actually. You find really silly things. One of my good friends, Jake Duncan, just buys everything on Kickstarter, and recently one of the things he bought that was funded, which is ridiculous, is a finger surfboard, and all it is a cute surfboard that you put on your finger. So that's what you're going to find at Kickstarter. Just anything. But if you go to Donors Choose, this is the one for teachers, and this is actually in my opinion, the best one for teachers. So this is the one. I've seen a lot of people actually, teachers get great things. So you put it up, and then you can send it to your classroom. It has Oprah. It can't be that bad, right? And Stephen Colbert, they support it. But you set up a free account. You can just get all kinds of stuff, even if it's books, even if it's funding a field trip, even if it's funding a project. It doesn't have to be technology, but if you need technology, then it'll help you get those as well. When you do it, try something small to begin with, so that way you can feel happy. Maybe one iPad or one Chromebook, or maybe 3 or 4 iPods or digital cameras. Try something small so you can get your feet into it. You learn a lot just by doing it the first time, and then you can set up another one as well. The next one, Donors Choose, you can see they have usually different pictures. They call them by their last names because even though you can be in other countries, I'm pretty sure, but when you do it a lot of times in America, I know in Germany they call me by my first name, but in America we tend to use the last name, so they'll call you things like Miss Paseo, or for me, Miss Sanchez. So here we have here she says iPads. She has iPads. And then this teacher wants a projector, a screen case that can hook up to an iPad. So hers is 610. This one's 551. So see, they give you it where parents can go. They send this to parents. They send this to friends. They send this to, they may tweet it. They may send it to their community. All kinds of things. The next one that's a really good site for this as well is DigitalWish. So what you can do is you can use many of these sites, and sometimes I'm not sure what it is, if this is possible, but I know with Kelly, she did the learning genome, and what Kelly did was she did it on Kickstarter and IndieGoGo, and it was the same project. So I think you can actually take one project and put it on different sites. And as far as I'm concerned, I put it all in a Google Doc. I put it, or you can put it in a Word document, and then copy and paste to all the sites. And I think, why not? So you can do one. Okay, so great. Peggy is sharing a resource that she did on the donors choose. Good. I'm going to add that to our bookmarks right now, Peggy. So good stuff there. Thank you so much. Oh, and it's with Paula Nago. Paula Nago's awesome. So these are teachers who have really gotten tech into their classrooms, and that's all they do is they just put it on these sites. So this is crowdfunding. You can do it. It's not that hard. The other one is AdoptAClassroom. I really like AdoptAClassroom a lot. And this offers different things as well. This one kind of works like No, it's not only for the United States. You have to look at some of these programs, but I'm pretty sure not all of them are. Oh, I didn't even put that right. For the U.S., they're for around the world and other countries too. I have to go check and see which ones those would be. But I know, like for example, Kickstarter isn't at all, or IndieGoGo. So, and I think Donors Choose might be beyond as well. The great thing about it is, okay, so on the other one, DigitalWish, the other thing is it gives you fundraisers as well. So you can even start a fundraiser. So even if you're not doing like this crowdsourcing, it tells you how to recycle forward. It gives it fundraising ideas galore. How to make t-shirts for technology, how to design them and sell them online so you don't actually have to buy the t-shirt. You just they get a percentage, you get a percentage. I mean, so many cool things. Your students, they can go and every month you can have them design a new t-shirt. I mean, that takes skills, that's creative, that you can make that as part of your class. And what I think is wonderful is when you get your classroom together, when you get the kids involved, and then they get that computer, that's so special when they get that iPad, computer, Chromebook, digital cameras, because you say, look what your t-shirt design got us. And that makes a child feel really awesome when they become part of the reason why they got technology in the classroom. So you don't have to do it alone. You get your kids involved or your college students. So Ulrich, you could get your students to design some kind of marketing campaign or fundraiser or t-shirt, and then, you know, they can really learn about business English and stuff like that. And they can even compete shirts, you know, what's going to be the best selling one, what's going to be the less. You can even do math with it. You can do graphs, see? So well, they can do it for upcoming classes and keep it going. But they can design their own logos, and then we'll see, you know, you can, it's a great way to teach them business English. AdoptAClassroom is a little bit different. It's sort of when you pay, here, you adopt a class. You adopt it for a year, you keep giving them money, whoever chooses to. They go to your classroom. Okay, so you set up the classroom, and then people can come, like parents or business leaders or anything like that, and they can adopt your class. And what they do is you give them constant, like every month you send them like a picture or a report or things saying basically, this is what your money keeps funding. This is us doing this project with the computer. This is us taking this field trip, you know, something like that you can do. So those are different options for you. ClassWish is another one. And I'm giving you different options so you can see what you're comfortable with as well. So this way you can either do fundraising, you can do crowdfunding, you can have someone adopt your classroom and just give you money. And then, yeah, AdoptAClassroom, ClassWish.org. It's the same thing, but you can have teachers, parents, and supporters. PT, this works with, if you have a PT, parent-teacher organization, actually you can give them this, and this has them take control and also raise the funds. So that's kind of cool that it gives it to a parent-teacher or a parent-teacher association. So you, the teacher, don't even have to worry about it. So if you don't like any of those ideas, you don't want to do the crowdfunding thing, you don't want to get the free book or anything, then you don't have to. You can apply for a grant. And this is the thing about grants. I have a lot of resources on how to get grants and how to write grants. So if you go to that Pearl Tree list, you're going to find all those. Mary Beth Hertz wrote one on how to write grants, and she has some different ones there, so you can find hers on Edutopia. WeAreTeachers.com is one of the most ones that I know. They're really great. They always have different kinds of grants. Their grants are easier to apply for. Their grants, you apply for them there, or their contests, and some of them are really simple. For here, you just put Instagram. You go through Instagram, and you win something very small, $10 at iTunes, or $50 at Target, or $10 at Amazon. But it's something, you know, and something always is better than nothing, okay? So they have a bunch, and then they have some really big grants where you can get a room full of iPods. So they have different things like that. There's grantgopher.com. I actually learned about this one during my research from doing Free Tech for Teachers, Richard Berg. He's the one who recommended this, and it looks really good. You just go find my grants, you type in the information, and you can find different types of grants all over, okay? Yes, exactly. And there's this really good bookmark that I use, Peggy. Peggy puts a good question, because the thing about grant writing, it's tedious. It's the least way that I like to choose to run. I rather run fundraisers, and I am a fundraiser queen. I happen to have ran over 100 fundraisers, and I'm good at them. Because I've been doing this since 1994, and I love fundraisers. So I'll give you those ideas in a bit. But I should write a fundraiser book, actually. But the thing about it is, with grants, that's what you have to. And I'm terrible at grants. That's one of the least things that I'm good at. But when you write a grant, you have to make sure, like Peggy says, you answer all the questions. There's a trick to it. It's very time consuming, but if you can do it right, then do it right. Don't just get into it and write. And you can get a lot of stuff. You can get, like I said, you can get a whole entire classroom full of future stuff. I mean, you can get a 3D printer. You can get, you know, all kinds of really great things if you write a grant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get you, excuse me, that one that says how to write different grants. This is all the Edutopia stuff. And okay, I think I have to find, there's this one principal who actually wrote something about grant writing. Oh, I'll just give you this one. This is eSchool News, and this is how to write a grant. So go through how to write a grant, everything they tell you about. Why didn't that give me the right? They gave me the wrong one. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Command AC. Here we go. But if you go to the Pearl Trees, you'll find all this. Just click the links, and it'll give you things on how to write a good grant. There are certain programs out there that also will lend you technology for a short while. So it's not the full class forever, but for a short while. And one of these projects that I've been a part of for a long time is NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo is when you write 50,000 words of a book or of a novel within the month of November. And so anyone around the world, and I've done this while I was in Germany, so I know it works there, and they'll actually, if you go to this particular link, and if you go over here where it says loaner program, they'll lend you a whole entire, everyone a computer, a laptop for that time. So you'll get it for like a month or two, those computers. And it's, I mean, you can do other stuff with it, but it's mainly so that your students have a way to write contribute and write their book within 30 days. So if you do the NaNoWriMo, then you can get this for free every year. So that's a way to get tech in your class for a little bit in November and December, right before Christmas. So what a gift to them. Pilot programs. I'm not sure how you would find the pilot programs, but if you look at Microsoft, if you look at Verizon, anything in your area, in your specific country, those places, and you call them, or if you even look at them, look at their website, you'll find where it lists different pilot programs and where they're making a call for pilot program. So that's one of the things that you can have as well. And Peggy's right, when you do a grant, I forgot to say that, you should get a team together. You should not write the grant yourself. You should actually get a team together because that's going to make it the most effective. When you're doing the pilot programs, there's a lot of steps you have to go through. You usually have to go through an interview process. They come in, they look at your kids. So you do have to go through a lot as well. But if you call the local technology places around your area, or if you look at their website, you'll see where it says pilot program. And then, of course, there's fundraising. So we're going to wrap up with some fundraising ideas. There's a lot of great ones. Here's one by Sign Up Genius. I loved them. They're just so creative. Now, I've done everything from, we used to do car washes all the time. When I was raising funds for my church, we had to raise funds to get kids to camp, so we would organize the camps. One of the things that we did was really fun each year. So we did car washes until that was not environmentally friendly anymore, so we stopped doing that. We've done things like sold candies door to door, so coupons door to door. If you go to those sites, I believe it was the DigitalWish, it shows you how to do different types of fundraisers as well. One of the ones that was the most successful is we had a celebrity dinner. So we actually took our one of the rooms, and we had the different students dress up as celebrities, and we made spaghetti. And then we had some of the kids do a little bit of stand-up poetry, comedy, sing, play the guitar. We ran a few coffee shops with the kids for a while, and then they would play the guitar, or they would play their instruments or sing, because, yes, it was the blast, it was the best. So those are great ways. Get your students involved. One of the ways that they have in, for the country, here, we have some country kind of fundraisers, and what I mean by that is like parents and people place bets on cow patties and cow droppings. So you have a cow or pig sometimes, and you get different areas in a pin, and if the cow drops that day in that pin, then in that area that then you win for that day. We have raffles of different things. Yes, they do, actually. They do. They love it. It's a lot of fun that they do. So you can have a lot of different, you can do a cook-off. You have to watch out with that because of allergies, and also you have to get now, I think, cooking permits and stuff for that. We don't do that so much. Here they have things like Strike Gold. Participants ask friends and family to donate old jewelry, and then they turn in the gold for cash, okay? They do things like a walkathon. We've had dance-a-thons, where you keep dancing, and people basically donate so many, like 25 cents, 50 cents for every hour, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you want that you can go. You just, each person, you say, okay, we're going to have a dance-off for this hour. And then what you do is you go and you have a place that maybe somewhere in the school gym or something like that, or a room, and you just play music you do it for several hours, 10 hours. Here we had a dribble-a-thon, okay? So we had people who would dribble a basketball, and each one of them gets a paper, and the paper says they have people that sign up that they ask that will give them 25 cents, $1 for how many minutes they go. So if that person ended up, and all that money, of course, goes to fundraising. So these are different types of fundraisings. You can do a baked goods sell-off. We used to do a pizza sell-off. We buy really cheap pizza and then we give them, or you can even go, and here we have bulk stuff. So I've even gone, we go to the bulk store and they have shiny things. Like during Fiesta, we get little Fiesta flower things. We get different light pins that light up. And then we give them, and we sell it. You can get it for 25 cents, and we upsell it for like $5. And people, because it's Fiesta, they'll buy it for $5, and we take all that profit, and then we can fund our thing. But students have, so these are all great fundraising ideas. During Christmas, think of things. We've made origami Valentine's Day gifts to raise my students when I had Asian students. So there's tons of ideas. Just go to that list and you'll find tons of ways. And then students, get with your students, brainstorm innovative ways. Get with your students and say, what can we do? What can we offer? And these are some of the things that students have done. They have performed. This is an iBand. So they got this is an iPad school. They actually got together and they make music with iBand. Here we have mariachi groups. We've actually gotten students at my university, and what we did was we go, and here every time they have a wedding, a quinceañera, anything like that, we go and our students go and they offer a cheaper service, because to have mariachis here at your wedding is very expensive. So if you go with the student groups, it saves people a lot of money. So people will do this. So if you have any singers or anything like that, you can raise money that way, and they would love it. This one, there's a real famous one. If you go to edgygema.com, they're called the Lynchfield Primary School. It's this group of guys that go, and they actually work with your school, and only through stuff like an iPhone or an iPad, they provide it to you, and they make music with the kids, and then they put it on iTunes, and they raise money this way. They were #1. You can go and you can even listen to their song. It's a really good song, and it's all of a classroom. They show you the video, they show you the class singing and how they made their iPads and music on the iPad, and they made their #1 iTunes music. You can even have something like, now you have so many celebrity shows out there. Who's the next American Idol, the next Greek Idol, the next Netherlands Idol, Belgium Idol. You have that everywhere. You can do that at your school, and you can make that a fundraiser. Like anything you put on iTunes, you can raise money for that child, of course, but also for the school. And it's very easy, and people love that because people really want to support creativity and the arts and seeing kids around do things. So if you have a talent show, anything like that, don't be scared to raise funds this way. You can have them create a book. They can create a book. They can, a digital book. This is a couple that were put on the iBooks store. It's free to do. It just takes time. You can have one device. So if you happen to have a device, or you can borrow a friend's device, it's easy to make this. This was 5th graders. What they did was they did the two kids in Desert Town. They wrote this creative book. There was another one. These were 7th graders in Florida, and they actually did all of the area and their area, and they told you what the different animals were. They classified them. So they learned a lot. They learned about the animals, the geography, the plants, because they classified them. They put pictures. They put the areas you could sightsee them, what time they would come out. It was basically a guide to their area around Florida. And they sold this. They sold this on iBooks. How did they do it? They used the Book Creator app. This is free, except it's on Android. It's $5 for Android. But when you do that, you get your book on the Google Play Store, the iBook Store. It's a small investment. It's the easiest way to make a book. You can add videos. You can add your own pictures. The kids can do something educational, and they can produce something that people everywhere can benefit from and buy. So for example, here, and I know when I was in Germany, they thought this was really funny. But yeah, exactly. You have to be careful with talent shows if they're lip singing songs. Good advice, Peggy. But when you do this, and make sure the Creative Commons too, take your own pictures, make them, you take your own videos, so that way you can make sure it's not Creative Commons, and get permissions from the parents so you can use those. But the great thing about it is when you do this, and you publish it on iBooks or Google Play, it can really help a lot of people along the way. And there's things like closed captioning. They make it for different types of learning needs. So if you're dyslexic, if you're deaf, the book has things so you can automatically make it for that. I love that. You just go to redjumper.net, book creator. It's one of the easiest tools. You don't even have to have a lot of technology as a teacher. If you've never used technology before, you can use book creator because it's so easy. It's that easy. I really recommend it. It's great. But I really think that some schools have invented an app. So you can invent an app. You don't even need, you can use this on any computer. You can invent an app. There are many places to invent an app. Students have been doing this. There's a lot of, the bubble game was actually invented by a 12-year-old. There's this, many kids who've been inventing apps. Özge Karagulu, she's a teacher in Turkey. Her and her 6-year-olds in Turkey who are learning English made a visual dictionary that you can purchase on the iTunes store. It's Turkey and English. So you can do this with any set of learners. This is one, she's Heidi Swiatek, and she's over here in Australia. And her and her students made this geography one about their school, and they worked with a, they had Ian Chia, who's somebody who does design apps, and he mentored them for free. So that's one thing that you can do. There's a mouth off, okay? So mouth off is one of my favorite ones. They have one for kindergarten. Mouth off is, well, I'll show you in a bit. But there's some great places to do this for free, especially if you're using Android. You do have to pay a fee. It's $100, I think, still, if you do it for the App Store. But if you're just doing it for Windows and you're just doing it for, you can do webmobi.com, mobileconduit.com, of course, appshed.com, all of these places. And then you have, of course, my poetries of all of these different things on how you can do all this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap up because we've been with our 30 minutes for sure. But hopefully you leave with a lot of different ideas. And just know that if you're trying to get funding for your classroom, start now. Come up with the ideas now. Come up with your plan. Decide on what you're going to do. And make sure, don't get depressed if you only raise $100, $50. You still raised money. And that's what I have to tell teachers all the time. An idea, you never know what that idea does. So whether it's something like you made this fundraiser and one kid out of there, all of a sudden sees the lights come out and they think, wow, you were creative and I can do this, then that was worth it. Any type of funding, any type of thing that you do is better than doing nothing. The only way you could fail at anything is if you do nothing at all, because then you'll always wonder, what if? So don't get discouraged if you only have 8 people who turn up to your fundraiser, you only raise $8 or anything like that. I have given presentations where I've had one person in there. And you know what? It's still great because you still help someone. You still are helping and getting things when nobody else did. So don't get discouraged. You can go out there, you can get tech, even if it's little by little, you'll somehow get it. So try these ideas, and if you're excited like me, you'll try all of them 1,000 times, because that's what I end up doing. And they're fun experiences for me. I learned something out of all of these. And that's how I learned so much as well, is because every time I try these new things, every time I try to make a shirt and I say, okay, kids, this is our idea. And my students are known for that. I push them and I say, okay, this is what we're doing, or this, and they go along with it. But we learn something in the process that we never learned before. You know, what's the best way to market? What's the best way to write a grant? You end up learning a lot in the meantime. So thank you so much. Well, thank you. And let us know, please. Come up, send us back, and let us know if it worked for you. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.